Because I knew all these people. I could have had a career in playing all the time. One day, somebody said to me, "Oh, there's this fellow called Polydor." Yeah. And it was one of the records. I'll tell you what it was. It was Bert Cancer. Oh, okay. Yeah. And we became a very dear friend right up to his last day. And the BBC were doing a documentary on him. And the producer said, "Could you give me some information, James? You know the guy better than anybody else." I said, "I'll write it for you." So I scribbled this thing out, went through the recording, and he said, "Where did that come from? Is that from your publicity department?" I said, "No, I did it." Yeah. And he said, "It's very good, you know." I said, "Oh, thanks very much." I was happy they were happy. Slightly patronising, but there it is. Slightly patronising. And then he said, "Oh, we're recording it tomorrow." And he said, "Will you be there?" I said, "Yeah, if you like." So I turned up, and the producer said, "The bloke that was coming to do this," he said, "is ill." I said, "Well, he won't be coming then, will he?" The classic showbiz story. Going out there, an unknown kid, you're coming back a star. So he said, that could be broadcast. He said, "That's perfect." So off we go, we marked this thing out, and off it went, and that was the end of it. And I got a phone call out of the blue from the head of presentation at Radio 2, and I called Jimmy Kingsbury. And he was frightfully like that. Very well. Nothing changed. And he said, he said, "May I call you Jag?" I said, "You can call me what you like. As long as I'm not late for me dinner." Exactly, yeah. And he said, "I like that commentary thing." He said, "We're looking for a different kind of voice now." And he said, "You've got a slight Scottish burr." And he said, "Would you come in and do an audition for me?" And I'm thinking, the man's loopy. Anyway, I went, and I did it, and I did the shipping forecast, the weather, read the news, not terribly well. And then one day they must have said, "These football results, will you have a go at those?" And that was late on. Oh, I see. I was about a couple of years in. But I did do he did show me some results in front of me. Yeah. And I did them. He said they weren't terribly good. Not terribly good. That's the BBC job. Not enough inflection. Not enough inflection. Yeah. So he said, and that was it. So I got the job. Yeah. And I ended up being newsreader, announcer, doing concerts. It was a wonderful, wonderful time. You were, of course, a big football fan and been going all your life to games. Oh, yes, I loved games. I didn't have a team, which is strange. This is odd. I've heard this about you. Don't actually have a team. Right, and I think what happened, this is how it came about. Yeah. When I was young, I spent a lot of time in hospital in Edinburgh. Polio, did you not? Polio, that's right. Yeah. So I spent a lot of time. So then when I came home, I had such a lovely, happy home life that when I did get home, I just wanted to learn to play my piano, my clarinet. I wanted to do all these, and I really didn't get round to it. But now and again, Dad would cart me off to a game, and I cart you off. I mean, cart me off.
Who was your dad's team then? Who was your dad's team? Falcon. Oh, Falcon. Okay.
At Brockville Park. Anyway, so I came out of hospital once, and it was the big day. It was Rangers and Celtic. And my mother said, "And where are you taking that boy?" Because I said, So he said, "I'm taking him to the big game." And it's a bit like Billy Connolly, this conversation. And my mother said, "But you can't." She said, "He's not well enough." He's going. Because you were encased, literally. Yeah, I was like a mummy, really. Anyway, so off we go, and up the terrace to the stand. And of course, I think, where are we going to put him? Because I was stiff, like Tutankhamun, you see. And my uncle said, "Oh, just put him there, Tommy. Prop him up against that chair." So they propped me up against this chair, and of course, the guy behind couldn't see. And real tough glasses, just like Billy Connolly, real tough. Yeah. And he said, sit down, I can't see." And the game's in full swing, and the fanatical. Yeah. And my father turns around indignantly and says, "The laddie can't bend his knees." To which the big Glaswegian says, "No, but I can." So you were propped up watching fixtures like that, yeah? Oh, yeah. Oh, and then you were Falkirk was the team you saw more than others? Yes, because that was local to us, really. How long were you encased, so? When did you get the relative freedom? read about 11 and 12.
Yeah.
Got rid of that, so that was good.
Yeah, and so is this where the musical training came in? You had nothing else to do but learn?
Well, I think in all fairness, I think Dad thought, he might not be able to do very much. You know, when he gets older, and maybe music would be.
Yeah, become RC Shore or something.
I did think or something.
Yeah. And so, all right, so there's your love of football starting up there. When you first went into you mentioned you had done some football results, but then you became, the voice we more than ever identified with the results, and yet, even though 38 years doing it, people think you've been doing it 108 years, because you took the gig over, didn't you, from somebody?
I took the gig over, and it was funny. I mean, I came in one day, the boss said, nip over and do the footy. And I said, Anyway, so I go in there, and it was very old. The whole operation was quite old-fashioned.
Yeah.
And Jeff said, sit there. So sat there, but nobody said, how's your granny? Nice to see you, still limping. I mean, nobody said a word.
No.
And I looked at these names, and there was no kind of briefing.
No one taught you. You just.
No, nobody said, well, you do it like this, or you must have heard.
The house style or anything, no?
Yeah. And I mean, I think Jimmy had done run a couple off, and I looked at it, and it must have been something to do with my musical training.
Yeah.
Because I looked at it and I said, if I get a rhythm with it, this is my odd thinking, that if I get a rhythm doing it, I'll get it near enough right.
Yeah.
But I'd looked at the names without numbers, without results, and thought, Arsenal have lost, so I'm sorry for them. Man United have won, so I'm happy for them.
Just a suggestion you made me, don't you?
Exactly, yeah. So Arsenal won, Manchester United too.
Yeah.
Rangers too.
Why didn't you copyright this doll? You'd have been living in a solid doll's house, because today everyone does that. It's accepted, and you don't have to hear the result. But of course you don't. As soon as if it's good or bad, that's it. Yeah. If we're playing away at Ipswich, if somebody goes, Ipswich Town 3, you think, well, we've lost. And Millwall, or if they go Ipswich Town 3, Millwall. You think, a draw. You don't need to hear the 3. And of course, you invented that.
I was never aware that people copied it. Honestly, I really didn't believe it. I said, it's I'm a broadcaster, so I have to communicate properly.
Yeah. And I love the idea. It's classified. It's classified. I've never understood what that meant. But now we're going to go to James Alexander Gordon for the classified results. Are there some teams more fun to read than others? I should imagine so. I mean, Harton did loads. Hamilton Academicals would have always been
That's
good.
a beaut, isn't it?
But the fact you're not aligned or got an affiliation to any team, that's extraordinary.
It is odd, isn't it? Well, all my family, I think, is looping at that.
I think it's a little odd.
But I think it's the most brilliant game. I find it so exciting. So maybe it's good that I do what I do and enjoy it.
Have you ever been given a rocket by someone saying, now come on, Gordon, know what you did last
time? I had somebody once say, funereal. And it wasn't just funereal.
Well, I'll tell you what I've got here. I've prepared some of the most extraordinary names in the world. Now, don't confuse these with the real deal. They'll be coming up later on. But these are... These are from actual leagues and games that play in actual leagues, but they're not the sort of thing you're used to.
And I wouldn't know them.
No, but I don't think so. And there's nothing in there. And that team is pronounced TOT, T-O-T. And now, a real treat from around the world, some of the most extraordinary...
I don't get time to look at them now.
Well, we'll understand. I've just had it. They're all real teams, and those are the actual leagues they play in. And now, here on 5 Live, don't be alarmed, James Alexander Gordon is going to read results from around the world. Had you been born into another culture, these would have been mother's milk to you.
This is the first.
Here we go.
This is the first.
Okay.
Now today's results, the Thai Premier League. Glass Rabbits 3, Tot 3. Army United 5, Thong United 0. Botswana First Division. Police 10, 1. Meat Commission 2. Extension Gunners 4, Miscellaneous 3. Ethiopia Cup, second round. Wanji Sugar 2, Mogo Cement 2. That game has gone into extra time. This is Danny's getting at me here. Ethiopian Coffee 1, Beer Bottling 0.
Real teams.
And finally, one friendly, not on coupons, from Sierra Leone. Kitty All-Stars 6, Invincible nil.
How about that? Kitty All-Stars. That's Paul Invincible, hiding to nothing, calling yourself there. James, I can't tell you, flown by. It's been terrific. Barely touched the surface of an extraordinary career, and you'll be back with your proper hat on later on. Thank you for doing that for us. James Alexander Gordon.
Now, I don't want to give anybody the impression that I'm doing any sort of audition to replace James Alexander Gordon as the reader of the classified results here on Sports World, but it just so happens that if the great man was working today, he'd be telling you these scores from the English Championship in the Football League. Derby County 1, Blackburn Rovers 1. If you were guessing it, I'm doing it right. If you weren't, I'm not. And in the Scottish Premiership, Hibernian 0, Motherwell 1, and St Johnstone 1, Heart of Midlothian 0. Lee James is alongside me. He's going to tell me immediately if I was good enough.
You've got a bit of work to do there.
I know, the problem is I don't have the bassy resonance, the authority of James Alexander Gordon, which, funnily enough, Lee, you do. You should give it a go.
I'm with Danny Baker, though, the classified. Yeah, what is that all about?
Well, it's next to all the other classified ads in a newspaper. It's like you have on the adverts, you'll have the news, then the sports results, and then maybe if somebody's lost a dog. So it's all very important, and it's very important that it's listed in that way. Incidentally, we've received hundreds of messages from you, more than we received actually when Sir Alex Ferguson resigned as manager, or retired as manager of Manchester United, and as promised we have passed them on. I just wanted to give you a little flavour of what some of you have said. We'll start from Nelson in Uganda. He says, I started listening to the BBC World Service when I heard James Alexander Gordon reading the day's results back in 2002. It was out of curiosity about the way that he read them. Thanks, Jag, for the 41 years of service. Mark Bill from Kenya has written to us to say, James has been a constant part of the last 10 years of my Saturdays. The BBC will never quite be the same without him. All the best, James. Thank you for being such a great part of broadcasting. I will truly, truly, truly miss hearing Manchester United 3, Arsenal 0. That's better. I don't entirely know how many times that happened, but if it happened enough, Lee, he would have done it, I'm sure, exactly like that. In Accra, where we'll be going to shortly, Godwin says, the first time I listened to him was about 21 years ago in Ghana on shortwave radio. I fell in love with the classified football results. Sir James Alexander Gordon, maybe, he says. We'll have to wait and see on that. Imagine falling in love with the classified football results. I think that's a different element of the classified that you should be going for if it's love for which you search. And Say in Liberia says, farewell to a voice that introduced me to the English League some 20 years ago. A voice that read every result of my beloved Arsenal, who wouldn't have enjoyed that 3-0 to United area, in the most remotest part of the country of Liberia. He says, thank you a lot for your service. And Nick in St Helena says the classified football results won't ever be the same. He brought out that deep British accent that I don't have. Made the classifieds worth the listen, says Nick. The first time I heard him, I was addicted. That's how good he has become. Lee, it's an understandable reaction from people who, particularly with radio, become very emotionally attached to somebody they can't see because they need, I don't know, they need that sort of comfort, don't they? And it comes sometimes just from a voice.
Absolutely, and what a voice he had as well, and it was one of those moments, I think, in your career when you say, and now here's the classified football scores in England and Scotland read by James Alexander Gordon, and especially on those occasions when we shared the studio as well. It's not always happened down the years, but when he was sat in front of you, it was like you were getting a personal reading of the football scores, and you just imagined where people would be listening right around the world to those scores and waiting to find out if their team had won. But I think it is very much about James as well. He made it his own. I don't know if it's possible for anyone else to do it. It is just reading football scores, isn't it? But he brought them to life for everyone.
Lee, stay with us. Of course, one of only 4 permanent, if you like, Saturday Sports World presenters who's had that joy of saying James Alexander Gordon is here. Michael Otiaji is Sports World's voice of football in Ghana, and he's live from our studio in Accra now. With Lee got to say what was coming up, Michael, what was your response to the news that followed it, if you like?
Well, I thought I'm going to hear it on Saturdays again. It's funny, I was with a friend yesterday, and when it was announced the classified results were coming up, he said, James Alexander Gordon is not going to do it again. I heard it last week. It's not the sort of guy you would expect to say that, and I think that maybe the big thing was that people who were not ordinarily big football fans too. So, you know, on a Saturday evening, wherever you were, whether you were in a car, whether you were somewhere, people just wanted to get an idea of what the football results was, because for them, James reading it meant a bit more than that. So I think it was a really huge thing. For me, as a journalist especially, big impact on the career.
Yes, it's often the thing that lets you know where you are each week. You will use that as a prompt to know whether you're ahead of schedule, you're behind, you're late. It's one of those fixed points in your week. And of course, for you, Michael, as you said, you were a journalist. You exactly use this kind of voice and personality to inspire you.
Yes, I did. And you know, I used to do that a lot with a fellow journalist who, when we were growing up, Tony Amufa, he died later on, but it was one of those moments where we just didn't listen because we wanted to know what the scores were from the big weekend. Television wasn't a big thing as far as the English Premiership was concerned, so it was an important way of knowing what was going on, but also for us journalists, an important way of getting the pronunciations right, because a lot of those names were very, very tricky, and we always thought, if James says it in this way, then we'll try to imitate that and get it correct, so that on Monday when you go on the radio and you're reading the scoreline from the English Premier League game, you don't sound ignorant. So it was, in many ways, a very, very good tool for staying up to date in the job.
And was there a particular result you would always listen out for? Do you follow a team?
I really didn't follow a team, but I kind of liked when he mentioned Accrington Stanley, and then Ilfreda Caledonia Cecil. There were names that we would repeat over and over again to see just how good we would get it. It was just the fun of it. Some of those names of clubs from places like the lower divisions in Scotland and the rest were really interesting. It just really broadened your knowledge, because you always thought teams always had specific names, and then you hear one out of the blue that completely blows you off.
Michael, stay there for a moment, because I want to bring in Lynn Bennett-Wilson, a Sports World listener in the United States. Hello to you, Lynn. Football Scores with James was no doubt a regular part of your Saturday, lunchtime, I suppose, in the USA?
Indeed it was.
And how did you find it? I mean, was it a voice you found comforting in the way that I would imagine that Americans quite often like the British accent?
Well, we do indeed like the British accent, and he's a gentleman, and put his own style into reading the scores, which we don't get here that often. They just rattle them off in a way that it doesn't really affect you one way or the other. But James Alexander Gordon brought to us a level of class that we don't get here at home.
And were you able to maybe predict the second score like so many tried to over the years?
No. No, I was. In fact, you know, because of the limitation of soccer coverage or football coverage here in the United States, I would have to turn to James Alexander Gordon to hear anything about the teams that I love, especially some of the lesser-known teams like QPR before they joined the Premier League. And, of course, my father played rugby and football in the UK when he was in the Air Force. And so I developed my love for football through him.
Lynn, thank you so much for your memories, and of course many will share them too. Big question now is who will replace James? Well, the BBC say they won't be rushed into naming a permanent successor. As these Sports World listeners in Nigeria found out, there'll be hard shoes to fill.
Manchester United 2, Newcastle 0. Arsenal 1, Chelsea 1. West Ham 0, Liverpool 2.
Manchester United 2, Newcastle 0. Arsenal 1, Chelsea 1. West Ham 0, Liverpool 2. Manchester City 3, Sunderland 1.
Manchester United 2, Newcastle 0. Arsenal 1, Chelsea 1. West Ham 0, Liverpool 2. Manchester City 3, Sunderland 1.
Manchester United 2, Newcastle 0. Arsenal 1, Chelsea 1. West Ham 0, Liverpool 2. Manchester City 3, Sunderland 1.
Manchester United 2, Newcastle 0, Arsenal 1, Chelsea 1, West Ham 0, Liverpool 2, Manchester City 3, Sunderland 1.
Not bad, I think, as auditions go. They were pretty good. Michael Otiaji is still with us in a crying Ghana. Michael, would you like a go? Let's see how you do.
Arsenal 1, Chelsea 2, Sunderland 3, Newcastle 0. Did I do well?
I'm not entirely sure the giggling is part of the whole routine, but Michael, we are very impressed with your efforts. Thank you so much for joining us and giving us, of course, your memories of James. And we wonder whether he really needs to be replaced. BBC listener David Burns thinks not.
Instead of finding a new presenter for football results, why not sample Mr. Gordon's voice with all the football teams, then sample scores, and sample up winner, sample down loser. Then his dulcet tones could live forever. Just a thought.
It is a thought indeed, and taking David's views on board, here are the results read unknowingly by James Alexander Gordon.
East 5-4, Forfar Athletic 5. Leeds United 6, Chelsea 0. Wilkins 5, Tottenham Hotspur 2. Carlisle United 8, Manchester United 1.
Yes, unfortunately, I doubt any of those have ever happened, but if they have, you've heard it here first. It seems really only fitting that we leave the last word with James. He was recently asked in an interview on BBC Radio whether there would ever be a time when he'd say, this is it, he's calling it a day.
Never. No, I've never thought about it, because I can't think. I can't imagine me not working. My life's full, I do exciting things, and I'd miss it. I'd miss it terribly, because I get a lot of pleasure from it. I still get, it's so stupid this. On a Saturday, even to this day, the 6 stars, and would you believe, I'm like a little boy, I'm excited. I cannot wait to get it right. It's daft, isn't it?
James Alexander Gordon. Now, let's go to big news. In fact, we won't be able to go to Barcelona just yet. We'll hopefully be able to bring you news from Barcelona about a 6th gold medal for Missy Franklin. She and her USA colleagues have just won the 4x100 meter medley relay. Congratulations to Missy Franklin, who has won a record 6th medal. So congratulations to them. Now, athletics next week. It's the big 100 meter final. We will be building up to and having the race live on Sunday Sports World at 17:50 GMT. This time next week, we will know who is the World Athletics Champion. It will be a 100 meters to remember, no doubt. That is live here on Sunday Sports World next week. This time next week, plenty to look forward to. Congratulations to Stacey Lewis, the winner of the British Open Women for South Africa, for beating Sri Lanka in the T20 second international in Sri Lanka. Sports World returns on Saturday from 14 hours GMT, and indeed from 15 hours GMT on Sunday. Both shows will be dominated, no doubt, not only that 100 metres final, but also a preview to the new English Premier League season. I'll speak to you then.
Weekend on the BBC World Service. World Book Club talks to the Egyptian writer Adat Suwaif about her novel, The Map of Love. How would her characters react to what is happening now in Egypt?
I think actually there's a hashtag called What Would Anna and Sharif Have Made of This?
Romance, politics, and the past, present, and future of Egypt in World Book Club. On air and online today on the BBC World Service.
The world stories as they happen here on the BBC World Service. Whether it's news, business, science, art, or sport. Whenever and wherever it's happening, you can hear about it here on the BBC World Service, the world's radio station.
Today's big global stories at 18 hours GMT as the new Iranian president is sworn in.
Transparency is the key to open a new chapter in global trust. Reducing tension is our way for the future.
This is Andrew Peach in London. We'll get reaction to what Hassan Rouhani had to say in a moment. Also in the newsroom, Israel expands the list of settlements in the West Bank eligible for government money. The South African president says Robert Mugabe's win in Zimbabwe's general election should be accepted. In Johannesburg for the newsroom, Mark Lowen.
Yes, Andrew, the results are in, but the international reaction has been very mixed, and Morgan Tsvangirai is now pursuing his legal challenge to what he says was a sham election.
And who will be the 12th actor to play the British science fiction hero Doctor Who? All will be revealed while we're on the air, so stay with us if you can. First, Marion with the BBC World News.
BBC News with Marion Marshall.
Hassan Rouhani has been sworn in as the new president of Iran. In his inauguration speech before Parliament in Tehran, Mr. Rouhani said the Iranian people had expressed their desire for change and growth, respect and dignity in a free